We are live. Hey everyone, welcome to Hack Shack Studios. RT Bear here. What is up? What is up? It is a gorgeous day. It's a little warm here today, but it's a gorgeous day nonetheless. Yeah, we are going to have a major comic book celebrity. We have Peter Simeti coming in, and I sent out a link also to Thunderbuns of the Joe Thunderbuns, and he should be here in a bit. And but I just wanted to kind of touch base and see how everybody's doing, and then we'll welcome in Peter. So we have Leroy. What's up, Leroy? First, where is my hard candy, old man? Hard candy's gross, man. What are those that ribbon candy? Whatever the hell that stuff is. That stuff's horrible. Wait. Here we go. Now we got a party here. Hey, Peter, what's up?
Hey, Art. How's it going?
It's going good. Do you remember ribbon candy? Leroy seems to love it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You love it.
You don't like it?
What is the flavor? I don't even know what it's like. Sugar.
Ribbon.
It tastes like ribbon.
Sugary ribbon.
That's a new flavor right there, man. No. We used to have it like it was a big like holiday, like Christmas candy, I think. So there would be all kinds of the ribbon, and it'd be in a bowl. And as a kid, at least as a kid when I was young, we were poor always. So if there was anything like sugary or anything that seemed like it was kid friendly, candy, snacks, anything like that, you went nuts over. And I'll tell you, ribbon candy, no.
I mean, you've always got that bowl of Werther's at your house, right?
No.
You don't? Oh.
No. That hurt. That was a little painful.
You don't have a couple just jangling in your pocket a bit,
No.
You just like...
Like the commercial, you just whip one out, hand it to the younglings.
They've melted into the plastic,
Yeah. The only thing I do is I just hand kids $20 bills.
Oh, okay. Get yourself an ice cream, right?
Yeah, go get yourself some ice cream. Yeah, and $20 can barely buy ice cream these days. So, I was gonna say a quarter because I think God bless her, my grandmother, all the way up to her death, she would still send me for my birthday like a quarter. She would mail me a card with a quarter, and it would be taped in the card. And I'm like,
nice.
I'm like, oh, Grandma, could you? What the hell?
Peter Simeti. It's albino Simeti, your brother from another mother.
It's like looking into a mirror.
It is. Actually, that did scare me. I'm not gonna lie, Joe. That one actually freaked me out. I couldn't figure it out. Like it's so busy, I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on at first. I was like, "Holy shit! Wait, that's a wig."
You didn't know where? Yeah, you didn't know where the hair started and the beard ended.
No. But this is a good look for you. Once you get past the oh shit, like it really works. The oh shit factor, which I think is what you were going for, right?
I
like it. You got style, Joe.
Yeah,
I tried. Well, I learned from the best.
He's got the Peter Simeti style.
Well, you look like me, not like Art. If you want to learn from the best, take a look at Art. He's got that sweet style.
Yeah,
just,
I got
gets up in the morning and goes and tackles the day just as is, right out of bed.
Yep. And I give little kids $20 bills to go get ice cream.
Yeah, with the melted Werther's right on it.
Yeah, nice warmed Werther's candy.
Art, believe it or not, Art, my kids do think you're the coolest guy they've ever met.
Well, they're damn straight. Wait, I have to ask why though before I get all cocky. Why do they think I'm cool?
2 reasons.
I gave them a bunch of free stuff when they were over here, right?
Okay, 3 seasons. 3 reasons. 1, you're a famous comic book artist. 2, you have a pool and you let them swim in it. And 3, you gave them free stuff.
There you go. And a $20 bill. So The big reason that we're here is Peter has a new Indiegogo, and it's what are you 2 days into it now? Is that it?
Yeah, actually just in the next 4 minutes, it'll officially be the end of the second day.
Wow, you are doing so well. Well, let me share, and then you can talk a bit about it. And also, I want to do a little bit of interviewing because I call this Hacks Chat. So I actually want to go a little bit of like behind the scenes, like how did you get involved? What like what age you were, just kind of your whole history. How you got involved with comic books and all that other good stuff. So let's go share the campaign first. Hopefully I can hit all these right buttons. I'm still not used to all this. So here we are, man. This is it. So Alterna Comics, because you demanded it, we heard you. Everything on this campaign has been requested. No, demanded by our readers. So what's going on here, Peter?
Okay, so as many people know, we have the most ruthless, demanding readers in all of comics. They'll send me emails like you won't believe. They'll say, why you sold out of this? I wanted to buy it. Why don't you have it? They say, hey, I want to get this kind of a thing. Why isn't it there? On and on and on. It doesn't stop, And I decided, okay, let's just kind of give them what they want. Maybe they'll stop sending me all these nasty emails. So this is the campaign. Pretty much everything you see here, it literally has been requested by readers over the years. It's just between everything going on, between our regular publishing schedule, between stuff with Diamond and finding the time with all kinds of things too, we just didn't really have the time to put out these things. But now is the perfect time. We don't have Alterna Ween this year, so we're doing this campaign instead. And the most requested items have been the blank variants, and then even this red beanie that was sold out for about 7 months or so. People have been asking about it at least once a week. I get someone asking, when you're going to get this thing back? So it's great that we got this chance to put up a campaign now that centers around also the collector case that you see right there. The featured perk bundle at $99 is probably the best bet in terms of your value that you're going to get for this campaign. You get all the reprints, all the variants, all the collector case inserts. These are the collector case inserts. Here's an example of them. So they just go right into the front pocket and the side pockets of the cases, and you can customize your case however you'd like. And then as we unlock more reprints and blank variants and collector case inserts as the campaign progresses past its goal, you get those things automatically included if you back the fully loaded collector case featured perk bundle. Or if you get the reprint bundle, you get more reprints as we unlock those too. So there's all kinds of great things on here, and we got almost 50 add-ons too, so people can actually customize their own package.
So it's 15 books, and they get to choose those 15, and there's 18 blank variants, and they get to choose those as well. Is that what you're saying?
If they get the fully loaded collector case, they get everything. So they get all of those.
Okay.
But if they want, like if you scroll down and see there's the collector case, there's all singular kinds of reward options. If they just want the exclusive comic, but they want to add on a collector case, they want to add on a particular issue that we're going back to print with, or a particular blank variant or a hat or whatever, they could do that too. And that's all in the add-on section afterwards, after you click on the main perk. So you can actually pick and choose and make your own bundle here. It's a great system, I think, so far, because people have been adding on 5 to 6 items on average.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of cool stuff, like the t-shirts, the hats, and like you said, are all the books, you can get all the books, the different ones, as add-ons, or are there just a select few?
You can get all of the reprint ones as add-ons.
Okay.
As far as our books go, so let's say if you want stuff that's not going back to print, if you're new to Alterna, you can always get the I forget what we call it, the all comics bundle, something like that. You get literally everything that's in print. The giants, the single issues, the blank variant, that kind of a thing. Or if you want, you can get whatever you'd like on this campaign, because a lot of it's exclusive, and then you can go over to alternaaccess.com and pick and choose the kinds of things you'd like on there. That's our regular site store. If we put every single item we have to offer that's on alternaaccess.com right now, we'd be talking about like a 300 something item list for people to choose from. So, you know, even at 50, it's a lot, but we wanted to keep it pertinent to what was on the campaign. But here we've got the front pocket inserts. Every single one of those comes out looking like this thing you see here. It's on a cardstock, so it's not flimsy, and it goes right into the collector case. It's really easy peasy to put it all together. So they just slide right into the sleeves on the collector case. And when you get all of the inserts, you can actually customize your case however you want. So if you want to mix and match and have a different design on there, you could do that.
Okay, are you showing stuff? Because I came back to the camera here.
Yeah, I'm putting it all together. So it took me like, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds, whatever it is, to put it all together. So now the case is all put together with the art, and you can actually display this, and it's really nice.
It'll fit right on your bookcase. That's awesome.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got the 10 case set here that makes the Alterna logo. So it's kind of like a box set, and each case holds like 12 to 15 comics or so when they're bagged and boarded.
Yeah.
So you can actually display your whole entire collection really nice instead of just keeping it in, you know, a white box or whatever, the small boxes. It's something that you can actually display, and it looks great.
Is the box laminated? Oh, look at
There
this.
you go. See, he's got one.
Yeah, it's laminated, right? That looks cool.
Yeah, it's got sleeves, so you can actually put these inserts into the front or the sides. He's got his Alterna in there, too. That's great.
Oh, okay. I've seen some people, they have these, and they have their collection. They bring them to conventions. Because I remember, like, people would have, like, oh, this is my RT Bear X-Men books. And they would have them in one of those boxes. Yeah, and it's got a little magnet right on the end.
Yeah. These are great from BCW. These are great BCW cases. They're really sturdy stuff. And a nice magnetic closure on them. It's similar to, like, Ethan's honeycomb box. But these aren't printed because we wanted to have the ability to have people actually customize them how they want. Because we have so many different kinds of books at Alterna to print, like actually print up every single one and merchandise it too, because Alterna's creator owned. I was even uncertain if the creators would want to be okay with actually having all the inserts and stuff like that. And they were all fine with it. They loved it. So we moved forward with that. But this way people can actually customize their box art however they like.
So then is that an insert into the box that has the artwork, or is that printed and then laminated over?
Yeah, so this is an insert. It's printed.
You know what I mean? The artwork, and then you have
and
like
you just take it right out.
Oh,
and it can go right in. And you can actually get creators if you meet them at a show or whatever. You can actually have them sign this too. It's nice and it's like a semi-gloss, but it's not so glossy that a signature, you know, Sharpie or whatever wouldn't stick. So you can actually do that and have the nice a nice look on your collector case. If you don't want that, that's fine too. You can just keep it classy and clean.
Right. But the Alterna is printed on the plastic, right?
The Alterna, these are emblems that are placed onto the front of the case. So they're on the plastic. Okay. Yeah. And then the same thing with the Alterna logo on the side. Yeah. And then what's the one that you said that's on your bookshelf there? So that's 10 of those same cases. Yeah, these are 10 of the same cases. But
if you put the books up on your bookshelf, then it will spell out Alterna.
Yeah, kind of like the way a lot of box sets, they'll have an overlapping image that connects across. It's the same kind of system where the Alterna logo is across all of them. So, and this is a mock-up. So these are the official inserts, but this is just a mock-up to show a display right now. But only the people that get the 10 cases are going to get those. So you're not going to get those if you get the featured perk, because it's going to kind of be weird that you have something for 10 cases if you're just getting one case. But if you want 10 cases, it'll come with those. This way you get all the inserts, you get all those exclusive ones too for the side pocket, so you can actually have that overlapping image.
Wow, that's genius, man. That is really cool. I love stuff like that. Like I collect the Disney Treasury, like animation, like behind the scenes books, like art books and stuff like that. And so whenever there's like a box, like I have the Tarzan one, and it's signed by Phil Collins and all the directors and Glenn Keane and the animators, and it comes in like one of those boxes, and it kind of pulls out of the box. but it looks great on your bookshelf.
Oh,
So,
totally. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's really cool, man. I am really jealous. Let's go back and see more on your campaign here. So then we got T-Bird Throttle. I recognize that. There's the Mighty Mascot. So what are some of the other titles that you have here?
Okay, so the front pocket inserts, starting from the top left and going down across, we've got the actual Roger, we've got Blood Realm, Can't Kill Cade, The Chair, Downcast, Gods and Gears. It came out on a Wednesday. Legends of Log, the Mighty Mascots, Mr. Crypt, Red Koi, T-Bird and Throttle, Tinseltown, Trespasser, Unit 44, Voidwalker, and the XII. And then if we reach 400 backers, 500, and 600, we're going to unlock new inserts, front and side pocket, that gets included automatically in that featured perk or in the collector case inserts that you can actually purchase. Just if you want the inserts, if you have like a case at home the way Joe does, and if you just want to get the inserts, you could do that, and it's just $10.
So this is a way you can customize your box, right?
Yep.
That's awesome, man. Man, I'm so jealous. Look at all this. And all these little side panels look pretty cool. I mean, that's not easy to figure out, like how to get the image to work within, you know, like a sliver of a side panel, but those all look great, man.
Yeah, it features all the art from the varying talented Alterna creators that we have and all their books. So it's a really fun campaign, and people have been asking for something like this ever since we put the collector cases out. So we wanted to really take this opportunity to get these things out there. And then, yeah, there's the all 10 box set side pocket inserts. So you have an example there of what it would look like when they're all together.
All together. Wow.
I've got a question, Pete, on the add-ons. I was looking at the campaign page earlier today, and if I wanted to, let's say with these cases, let's say I want to get the 10-pack for me, and then I wanted to get a couple more for the kids, can I add on multiple single cases? Or will it, because it seemed like I could only add in one additional single case.
Yeah, unfortunately with Indiegogo, and I wish, you know, they do a great job with a lot of things, and they're miles ahead of Kickstarter in terms of their interface, especially with the add-ons and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they don't have something where you can adjust quantity. I wish they did, because that would be perfect for what we have right now.
Like Amazon shopping.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you have to go back in there then and repurchase however many it is that you'd want. So if let's say you wanted, you know, the 10 collector cases and then 4 more cases, you would add on a case, and then you would repledge, do the collector case, which is I think 25, and then add on a collector case.
Okay.
It gets complicated though, of course, if you wanted like, I don't know, 16 or 17 collector cases, then it turns into multiple going in and back and forth. And it makes it kind of frustrating too for all of us, because a lot of the times people want to go in there, they want to modify something, they want to add something else, and then, you know, you don't want to get charged and hit with more shipping than you should really pay. And with the domestic, it doesn't really hurt too bad, because it's pretty accurate. But when it comes to the international, sometimes it could be way higher than it really should be if they want to start doing things like that. So if that is the case that happens, what I'm going to do for people that go, you know what, the shipping is astronomical, you know, because I wanted to go in back and forth all the time getting different things. Let me know, contact me after the campaign ends, and we'll adjust your shipping, and I'll give you some kind of a refund for that, because I don't want people paying like $80 on shipping when it's really like $20 to ship.
Right. Yeah. So I was thinking about with the cases, and then if you had a, let's say, and not just your campaign specifically, but really this speaks to the Indiegogo functionality in general. You know, let's say you have a family and they all want Alterna shirts. So you got, you know, 1 for mom, 1 for dad, and 4 for the 4 kids. It'd be great if you could go in like Amazon and just pick your quantity, pick your sizes, and then you have one shirt.
And the thing is, you could do all that eventually with the Alterna site. Like right now, if you did just want collector cases, you can go to alternaaccess.com right now and just get 12 collector cases. And so you can just pick whatever number you wanted to pick. But if you wanted to support through the Indiegogo to get the exclusive stuff, so I would recommend like get the exclusive 10 case set and then go to alternaaccess.com and get however many of whatever it is that you'd like through there.
Mm-hmm.
So did you kind of answer Green Laser's question here? Why don't you sell larger quantities direct from Alterna? So is that like through your website? Is that
that's right on alternaaccess.com, and that's the official site storeable. And Joe knows that too. He shops all the time there. But so that's something that if you guys are in the chat, you want to do, you can absolutely do that. This way you can get the exclusives that are just part of the campaign. Like for people who got the secret perk, I think it was something like 600 people signed up for the secret perk. That's all campaign exclusive stuff. So one of them is the campaign exclusive comic that's not going to be sold anywhere else. We're not even going to have them on our site. And then 3 other items are just for that perk. So they're not even available. Like you guys don't even publicly see them right now. So they're not going to be available on the campaign. They're not going to be available outside the campaign. And, if you got the secret perk, it's only a $25 item, but you get 4 things. They're all exclusives. And you want to make sure you at least get that. Like if you're looking for the exclusive stuff, you just at least get that one. And then you can always pick and choose whatever's exclusive here and there through the campaign. But there are going to be things that you can only get through here. So just get that stuff here. And then you can go to alternaaccess.com, pick and choose whatever it is you'd like. And again, if you'd like to add more quantities of collector cases, you could do that specifically through the website.
That's very good. Very good. Well, let's go back. There's so much to this campaign. We just started here. So these are the reprints, part of the main campaign. So these ones get unlocked at these thresholds, like 15.5, 16. So yep. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the reprints and unlocking these stretch goal bonuses?
Okay, so our main goal is $15,000. That's going to help us to print everything we need to print, get all the collector cases together, everything that goes with this campaign. And then past that point, every $500 past it, we're going to be unlocking a new reprint. So at 15.5, another book gets unlocked. So if you get the featured perk, you get that basically for free. If you get the reprint tier, you get that book for free. If you get the one that has all the comics, again, you get it for free.
Oh my
you don't even
God.
have to ask or think about it. Just upgrade. So people are going to, if they didn't pay attention, let's say, and they just go, oh, that sounds like a great perk, I'll get the $99 one. If we unlock and go all the way up to, let's say, I don't know, 25, 26,000 and everything gets unlocked, they're going to be getting books that are probably double the amount of the stuff they thought they were actually going to get. We're going to unlock a whole bunch of them.
There's 15 books here. So theoretically, at 22.5, they could get 15 free books.
Yep.
Holy shit, dude! This is awesome.
Yeah. It's a really great, just a fun campaign for everybody, and especially if you're an Alterna completionist, this is great for you. But if you're someone that's new to Alterna, a lot of the reprints are number ones. They're first issues. So it's a great chance to jump on board and get these books in stock that many of them have been out of stock for quite some time. So, and it's funny because the reason we're doing something like this specifically with the reprints is because when we left Diamond, naturally, we got a whole lot more people interested in reading Alterna and finding us and buying our books. Because, of course, when you leave the biggest distributor in comics, you always increase your readership.
Yeah, I'm sure it was built into your business model when you formed Alterna, right?
Yeah. So
at the year 2020, we're going to pull away from Diamond and sell more books.
Yeah. So it was that kind of thing where we found that not only were we selling to more readers who were discovering Alterna, but we were also selling to more retailers that missed out or didn't know we had these books around. So they would see issue 2 or 3 or whatever it was and go, well, I missed out on the first one. I didn't know that you guys had this, or it sold out too fast. And they figured, okay, well, let me know when it goes back in stock. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know when they will actually go back in stock. But eventually we started selling through so many, like 36 to 40 titles could technically go back to print, that we figured, all right, let's put together a campaign and get these books out there again. And while we do that, a lot of these are first issues. I figure let's get the blank variants together that everybody's wanted for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And get those printed at the same time.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I watch your channel sometimes when you're drawing. And are you going to be offering any of your doodles for some of these blank variants?
Yeah, so I'm an artist option on there. We've got Hank Tucker. We've got there you go. Yeah, Hank Tucker, who was the director producer of the Tick animated series, and he's also a storied storyboard artist. He did storyboards for Transformers, Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends, Darkwing Duck. Almost you name it, he's done it. Awesome creator and great guy. Robert Geronimo, who's done work on Blood Realm that everybody loves that series. Frankie B. Washington, who's done work and It Came Out on a Wednesday, and he's just great with monsters and all kinds of stuff. Clint Stoker, who's he's just kind of some schlub on YouTube. Ryan Wynn.
You guys, he may have a campaign on Indiegogo right now. It's called Fatal. Maybe go check it out. I don't know. Hey, Joe, how do you feel about that? Should they go check out Clint's new book?
Well, if it was just Clint, I would say don't waste your time. But Charlie Snogans is also part of that team, and he's great. So, I tell you what, guys, for you in the chat, I will look up that campaign, and I'll put the link in the chat for you. And so for Charlie's sake, if you want to check it out, then go ahead.
Yeah, don't do it for Clint's sake. Do it for Charlie.
No, Clint's great. We all love Clint. So he's got work on here too. I said, look, I don't care who it is, alternate creators, if you're a writer, an artist, whatever it is, because some people might go, hey, I like that writer, and it'd be kind of neat to get their art on a blank variant, even if they're not the greatest artist. Maybe you love the writer so much you just want them to draw something. And Clint said, would you let me do something? Put me as an option. I was like, yeah, sure. So he's on here too, so he can do a sketch for you on a sketch cover or a sketch card, because we have sketch cards available too. And Ryan Wynn, who does great work on Gods and Gears, and a lot of people know him from his DC work as well, and Valiant and things like that. Spencer Desmond, who has the Voidwalker and Can't Kill Cade books, and that's me. But whatever about me. And then Nick Welch, we've got him. He's a fantastic colorist, a great letterer. He does work on Red Koi and also Can't Kill Cade. And Tyler Wentland, who is renowned at this point for instant fan favorite series called Red Koi, which is going to have an issue 3 very soon. And he does the Swan King as well, which was a nice one-shot that actually is going to be worked into the Red Koi universe. So a lot of the readers are excited about that. But all of these guys, you can get them to do a commission for you, and they're available on this campaign.
Okay, so how does that work? They buy the blank variant, and then they tell you who they want, like what artist they want to draw?
Yeah, so it's super simple. Like, we can actually do it right now, and I guess pretend as if we're gonna, get one of their pieces of work. So if we scroll up a bit here, you can actually see the sketch card, the sketch cover options. So we have them separated by an all ages comic, a teen comic, or a mature title. So let's just pick the all ages. So click on that, and then you can see the options that come up. Right. So like, you're gonna get the perk. And this way it'll ask you, it'll have 2 drop downs. So you can pick an artist and you can pick the specific book.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you click, click get this perk, and then that'll pop up. So you see artist selection, and then there's a drop down of names, and then there's the blank variant and which one you'd like to get. And there's a drop down of titles listed too.
Well, I want to get a Peter Simeti one.
That's fine. You could do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know you could do this. This is very cool. And then are these the titles or?
Yeah. So then when you click that, you'll see a drop-down list of the titles that we have that are all ages books. So just in case you wanted something that was appropriate, like you want to maybe gift it to a kid, whether it's yours or a niece or a nephew, whatever, you can get the artist to do something, pick a character you'd like, and then they sketch it on that book. And this way, the book is also appropriate for a kid too. And then here, we've got the teen comics that are appropriate for ages 12 or so and up. And then we've got the blank variants, and you can choose the different issues there too.
Wow, you got this all worked out. This is pretty amazing. I got to try to remember this. I may do something. I may steal this idea. I didn't know Indiegogo let you actually work out those details in each one of the tiers like that. It'll
let you list at least 10 options. So you can do at least three different kinds of selections, and then 10 options per selection.
You guys, this is sweet. Peter's done all the work, all the heavy lifting. So this is really, really simple for you guys. And I do suggest getting one of these blank variants with a sketch. That's pretty damn cool. And that's a really good price too. So it's the book and the drawing, correct?
Yeah, so you get the book and the drawing, and the only thing is I wish they could give us like a little bit of an input field, so this way the person could actually write a note, and then they could actually tell us specifically off the bat what they want. But you can either send us a message, or no matter what, at the end of the campaign, I'm going to send everybody a message about, okay, what character would you like on this piece of art here?
Well, I would assume they would want the character that is the book that they had.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Not necessarily. I mean, even the other day, I drew. Someone had commissioned, because I've got the chair sketch covers from 2015. That was the first time that got a lot of our readers going, I want to see blank variants for all of these. But that was mostly a movie promotional item. So we did a run for that. But the other day, I did one that had Cyberfrog on it. Someone requested Cyberfrog.
Ah, that's killer. Yeah.
So Cyberfrog on a chair, or they could put, maybe want black and white Art T. Bear characters. Maybe they want that done on Gods and Gears. I don't know. Whatever character you want to get.
So are these full figures, or are they head sketches, or?
I guess it's up to the commissioner at that point, the client. So whatever they want to get, it's going to be black and white. But if they want to get color, they can work that out directly with the artist. We'll hook them up, and then this way, whatever the extra fee might be for color, they could work that out together, and then the artist would just get the fee right directly from the client. But if they want with this, you could do a full body, you could do a head sketch. Most people are picking head sketches and things like that, but sometimes the artists like Frankie B. Washington goes all out, so he'll do crazy backgrounds and he'll do a full figure and everything else, and then sometimes you'll get maybe someone like me that I do usually more of like a dramatic like bust or a top or a 3/4 kind of angle or whatever, but it depends what they would like. They could specify that, so it's up to them.
Wow, that is really cool. So you guys, for $150, you can customize and get any character that you want drawn on these covers. Of course, you have to run it by the artists themselves, but that's pretty amazing that it's not just kind of a stock drawing. And then you have many artists to choose from as well. So wow. Way more of these should be backed, you guys. You guys need to get on this. This is only $150. That's a great price, man, for an original piece of artwork. So what are the other high points? We got all the artists here, the variants.
Yep. And then at the bottom, if you're just absolutely new to Alterna and you've heard about us before, but you're not really familiar with the titles, you can scroll all the way to the bottom like you see right here, and you can actually learn about what the titles are. And we've got a summary there, the creators involved, who it's appropriate for. So we have listed like all ages, teen, mature, and the kind of genre that the book is. This way you guys don't need to necessarily go in blind if you're just like, oh, I've heard of Alterna, let me check this out. But you don't maybe know what the hell we actually make. This way you can scroll all the way down. You can actually read up on what these books are like.
You made killer comics. That's what you make. Holy
well, of course, but it's we don't want people to just buy them because we said so. We're not Marvel.
Well, why not? All right, Joe, do your sales pitch. Just say, go buy these books now, and then people go out. When Joe speaks, people listen. Is Joe still there?
I think he stepped out for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we have the sketch tiers. We have the box. What is this one right here? So this is a sketch card that's all. I think there's a piece of artwork. Hold on. So this is the front is on the left-hand side, and then the back is. Do they fill that out, or do you fill that?
Yeah, so the artist would fill that out. So what that is it's an official Alterna Comics sketch card. So we put a little border on there. This way people could actually have fun with the border too, maybe make the character look like they're popping out a little bit. But on the back, they can actually write, their name, the character's name that they're drawing, their artist signature. Because a lot of the times too, you'll see these sketch cards and there's no place for the actual artist's name. It's just the signature.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even know who the heck did it because you can't really read the signature. So that always annoyed me whenever I did sketch card sets years ago. But so we have room for their name. They can write that all out, and this would be the artist doing it, and then they could put a date on there too. So this is something that if you commission to get one of these, a couple people have already, but if you commission to get one of these, the artist would fill all of that out. And again, it's the same system. You select an artist from the drop-down list of the 9 that are available on there. And then you would send us either a message or at the end of the campaign, wait for the email, and then you can tell me what you'd like to get on the card at that point.
Wow. Yeah, this is well thought out. This is a well thought out campaign. Yeah, so the box, the stock box, the collector box comes with how many books? Or is that just the box?
The collector case is just the box, and it comes with the exclusive campaign issue of it came out on a Wednesday, number 0.
Okay. And so then the featured, that's with the 15 comics plus the 18 variants and 34.
Yeah, and then all the inserts, yeah.
17 front pocket. Wow, you guys, this is the deal right here, man. You know, is there an option? Can they add on as like one of the drawings in checkout? So
yeah,
if they got this and they got the variant, then they could just add on like their favorite artist and then what character, right?
Yeah, well, you know, that's a good point, and that's something too. Again, I wish it was a little bit, you could customize it further, but it'd be kind of asking, I guess, a little bit too much of Indiegogo at this point. But they could get this tier and then add on a commission. They would get, the book wouldn't be part of it, so they would have a free kind of, you know, blank intact sketch cover, and then the sketch cover they paid for that the artist would draw on, that would be in addition to the books they already have.
Oh, so it is a complete add-on, not just the drawing, but the book itself as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, I got it. So
because
most
the book itself would be like $3 separately. So it's kind of not really, it's not really too much of a gigantic deal in terms of, you know, you're getting the extra book with the art, and then you have this book still intact and clean, and you can do whatever you want to do, and maybe even reach out to artists separately later on and get them, or maybe even reach out to Art Bear and say, hey, I've got an Alterna sketch cover. Would you do something on this?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like they could go to other people, or even to the Comicsgate Con that we're going to put on next year. They could go to their favorite artists and get their sketches at that point.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, the possibilities are endless. We just wanted to make it very fun and customizable. The whole point of the campaign, too, is the fact that we want people to be able to customize what it is they'd like to get.
Well, it looks great. It looks fantastic, you guys. Go back the Alterna, or go to the site. It's actually in the description. And then there are many, many cool tiers. Back one of these. Is this going to be a 30-day campaign? Or are you going to kind of thinking of the 60, which is kind of the popular now option?
For now, it's the 30. I mean, we'll see what it looks like. No matter what, though, if we do extend the campaign or we do whatever to it, there's going to be a bunch of rewards that are going to fall away to the wayside that you can only get in those first 30 days.
Yeah.
I'm not going to necessarily announce them right now. If we do decide to extend it, I'll do it a week before, and this way I'll give people some kind of a heads up in case, you know, they go, oh man, I wish I had known. I wouldn't have wanted to miss out on whatever it was that's going to go away. But there's a lot of items that are already just campaign specific that aren't going to be offered later on. They won't be on our website, nothing like that. So we'll see. We'll see how the campaign goes.
And that's what makes these campaigns special to you guys, that there's a lot of exclusives, and there is a short period of time that you can buy these things. So it becomes an event. I never have quite the guts to do that, because I always tell myself, like, I'm going to run the live campaign, and at the end of that campaign, when I roll it over in demand, all the stretch goal stuff is going to be taken away, you know, because then it makes the live, you know, an event, and then the in-demand stuff. But I'm always like, but I love everybody. Like, I want them to have all this stuff. So I always end up just making it like you can get the stuff in demand as well. But having said that, Chrono Mechanics, when we get the books at the end of the month, and do, like, just to go back a little bit, thank you, Peter. The printer, I'm not going to mention their name because I learned because of Mix'em, I'm not going to promote anybody until they actually come through and kick my ass in a good way. But thank you. So far, so good. They are
good.
They are ideal to work with.
They're great.
Accommodating. Yeah. And they ask all the right questions, which is good. Now I know what the right questions are.
Did you get paper stocks and stuff like that from them too? Oh, dude, they sent a phenomenal bundle.
Yeah, we got everything.
Yeah.
We got a proof with all the actual paper stock. They printed all the variants. I have them somewhere around here. Yeah, they kicked ass. So of course you have to pay a little bit extra for the proofs, but I highly recommend those for anybody. And also, unlike Mix'em, they didn't put all this crazy disclaimer in like, oh, well, there's going to be a difference between the proofs and the final offset printing. These guys are saying because there is a different print process, but when we go to the offset, we will match it. And holy crap, man, to have somebody just say that one word, we will.
Yeah, and they're great too, just in case there's ever a mix-up with anything or an error or the books get totally destroyed in shipping. They'll help you out and they'll make it right. So it's important to find a printer that'll do that too. This way you can go in there with confidence, and then you don't have to because printing is so so nerve-wracking.
I am finding this shit out. I have 1,400 Chrono Mechanics books that I'm figuring out, like, what do I do with these things, Do I throw them all away? Do I
a printer you can trust in? And even when there's something that frustrates you and it just drives you nuts, you're like, okay, you know what though? They'll make it right and they'll help out. That's very important. And some printers, they don't. They leave you high and dry and you're screwed.
And Mix'em did. So the reason I say Mix'em now is you guys please don't use them. And as soon as the new printer comes through, which I have no reason to believe that they won't, I will praise the shit out of them and I will give everybody their name and I will dote like crazy on them because, to tell you the truth, they are going to be our savior on this Chrono Mechanics. And actually even the black and white second chance, because we had the Grey Capullo variant Virgin and we had that with Mix'em as well. So we had 3 books, Peter. We had the art book, the Chrono Mechanics art book. We had the Chrono Mechanics book, graphic novel. And we had the Grey Capullo variant black and white graphic novel, and they screwed us on all 3 fronts. So, yeah, that was really, really hard to deal with. But I do thank you again. And,
no problem. And just so people know too, Art's not printing these with our newsprint printer. This is a printer that we've used for graphic novels and things like that.
Yeah, Peter works with all kinds of different vendors.
Yeah.
Like he has, his fingers in all kinds of different directions. And so before you came into this mix, Peter, because I was, early on with Comicsgate, we had no idea, man. We had, we were all scrambling to find different printers and stuff like that. And the conventional wisdom always with me was going into, create your own stuff was Canada and China. Those were the big places that you went. And now, yeah, I'm learning. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It takes longer. There's paperwork, you guys. Like like to get your books,
you can't see it, but all the way at the bottom it says printed in the USA.
Yeah.
I learned a lesson once with China with printing with it's funny. We printed with Print Ninja, I think, on 2 books years ago, graphic novels, and then we printed with the now defunct Kraken Print, which, holy smokes, what a nightmare! 6 months to get, I think, 2 books. Almost completely blew the diamond deadline. Almost got fined and told, well, it's canceled. Got them there a week before the deadline. But took 6 months. Sent them the books in November. Didn't get them till like April.
Yeah.
It's
funny because we got the Chrono Mechanic book done, like the artwork, lettering, coloring, everything done like a month before. You know what I mean? My initial deadline was my original deadline. So I was thinking, what could go wrong, man? We got a month wiggle room here.
Yeah. And the thing is, I made the mistake back then. It was years ago. thinking, oh, go with printers who you've heard they print graphic novels, they print comics.
Yep.
After that, I said, you know what? I'm sticking to the US only, because if there's ever any problem, and this is the same thing I encourage with anyone who wants to do the printing partnership with us, if you're outside the US, God forbid there's a problem, it's a logistical nightmare. So that's why I say, look, if you're even in Canada, I don't recommend going through the printing partnership program with us, because if anything happens, forget about it. It's going to be a nightmare. So just with the US. But as far as this goes, what had happened was that I had thought that, well, you print them with these kind of printers that do these things and they know about it. It's a special thing and whatever. All you have to do is you have to know what kind of ink coverage, what kind of paper stocks you're dealing with, the pre-press, and what kind of system they're using. And they let you know, okay, the files need to be formatted like this. And then you're fine. And you could use any printer whatsoever. So it's funny that, these are some of the lessons you learn with publishing over the years, because like the way you found yourself in this current situation, I didn't have many people to really turn to. And when I did, they were just like, I use these guys that everyone else uses.
Exactly. That was me too. Yeah. And a lot of them, like we used to use Quebecor when I was over at Image Comics, and they're no longer around, but they print big volumes. So for somebody like us that, like 1,000 print run or 1,500, it doesn't make much sense, because it becomes problematic as far as expenses. It becomes expensive.
Yeah.
And then we also found out that we used a lot of local vendors here for like the trading cards, the ash cans, things like that. And it's a joy to be able to go and actually see those, see who you're working with, and then tell them the specs. And then you can go back and forth, face to face. And we got some great work done at a very, very reasonable price. So if you guys, have stuff that isn't necessarily big print runs, like for comic books, but, like bookmarks or postcards or trading cards, check out your local vendors, your local printers, because some of those guys can kick ass.
Yeah.
Some of them are schmucks too, but some of them do really great work.
It's true. Well, the thing is also, I found out a lot when we had problems with our printer last year. So what had happened was, with our single issue printer, the very first printer we used for the newsprint, they told me to do things that I didn't think you should do with printing. And I have a graphic design background. I've been used to printing things for a long time. That was my main profession before really just taking the deep dive into comics. And I thought, this is really weird that you want me to set up the files like this and these kind of ink coverage quantities, and you think this is okay? And they're like, yeah, this is our system and how it runs. And I'm thinking, like, this goes against every single thing that I've done over the years, but okay. So we did the book, and lo and behold, the books were freaking abysmal. And I had a meltdown that day. I said all kinds of words that would earn me a life boy in the mouth. And so I was like, we're not doing it. 4 days back and forth with the printer on the phone. Then they wanted to blame me. I said, I did everything you told me to do.
Right.
I did it against what I thought should be done on
printing. And the thing is, you have the paper trail. That's the best thing about emails now, is you have proof.
Yep. So eventually what they had done is they had redid all the printing free of charge. But at that point it was too late. The books were already at distribution. They were already at the newsstand. It was like, all right. So we had a bunch of books that were free, but it did a lot of damage to us at first. So we switched printers from them immediately. So then our next batch, that was in June of 2017, those were with the printer that we're currently using now. But along the way, the reason we had left those guys the first time, the second printer, we left them the first time in, I believe, December or November, something like that, of 2018, was because we had so many problems in terms of the pricing that was increasing. It had gone up about 20%.
Right.
And I got a quote from another printer that I didn't know until much later on. They had lowballed the whole quote just to win our bid. And it was completely different than the quote we were getting from the other printer, who was a much better quality. And this is the one we currently use now. They print our books today. But this third printer they had so many different issues with like spine creasing and little printing issues here and there, trimming issues. And I said, look, we can't keep doing this. I know you guys are coming in at a nice price, but at the same time, our unit cost of actually what's sellable is going through the roof because we have to get rid of so many books.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally finding ways to take like an iron and, you know, press the books. And I'd be spending 3 or 4 hours a week trying to salvage books.
Yeah, Mixam did that with our posters, the black and white Total Bot Annihilation posters. And also the pain in the ass is that you find yourself having to go through hundreds of either prints, posters, or books to find the ones that are bad. So you have your pile that are good, you have stuff, and these are high-end collectibles, like stuff that a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So if it just has like a little crease or a little slight discoloration or, you know, tatter on the edge, you can't use those things. So oh my gosh, it took us all evening, my wife and I, to go through, I think it was 500 posters, and we only found 200 usable posters out of those. And some of those, you know, we were like, it's good enough. And then we went back and go, no, these have to be pristine. And we took those out just because they have to be perfection. You know, everything that we do is like, these are collectibles. Yeah. So, you know, people expect quality. And so that's the same thing with the Chrono Mechanics book. I could not ship out those Mixam versions because they're not up to
substandard.
Yeah, of the quality that they should be. So I'm really, really fortunate that the fan base that we've cultivated and everybody, they're very, very patient and they understand. And we all are very, very transparent too, almost to the point of like, you know, being too honest, I think, with the process and everything. But okay, I want to know how you got into comics, like what your background is. You said you have a graphic arts background, but this has to go way deeper. Like everybody that's in comic books has like a deep, deep childhood love for them. So I want to hear the Pete Simeti story here.
Oh man, I wish I had known. I could have brought out and showed you the very first comic that I ever got. It was a Spectacular Spider-Man issue. It's the one with Captain America and Tarantula, and then Spider-Man is kind of just like in the background, like, you know, he's coming at the reader.
Is the Tarantula coming first on the cover?
No, not the number one. It's Tarantula and Captain America side by side, and they're kind of both like punching. I think Cap's punching and Tarantula's kicking, and then Spidey's kind of wailing in the background and at the foreground at us. So that's my first comic. I still have it. It's come off the staples at this point. 5-year-old Pete thought it would be great to color in all of Spidey's eyes blue. So everything with Spider-Man's eyes is blue. That's, I guess, the first coloring work of me.
You know what? I got somehow through one of those. You know how like they have the ads in the comic books as like disappearing ink. You know, for like $1, you can get the pin with disappearing ink. I have an entire like early Avengers run that just has secret messages, coded messages that I wrote in the border panels of my Avengers books. It's like, look at page 15. It's great. And then you go over it and it's like, oh, it appears. That's, you know, I'm telling myself to look at page 15. Yeah, so you basically just destroy all the books. But I actually look back, I just say, like, we just love those books to death, right?
Oh, Peter? Yeah. I had that. I had a Fantastic Four issue that's like coverless now. I don't even know where that cover is anymore. An Uncanny X-Men book with Silvestri art on it. I think it was one that had Gateway in it too. And so I had a bunch of these comics when I was a kid. I absolutely loved them. I loved the cartoons, the toys, the comics. I had everything. I was just head over heels. And it was mostly Marvel when I was a kid, especially. And it's just, I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't know of comic books. I'm literally born on New Comic Book Day, July 4th, 1984.
Wow, that's cool, man. But I was hooked at probably the same age, like age 5, you know, where I was just like Batman psycho, you know. I had to have everything, you know, Batman. So the bug hit me at 5 as well. So did you draw back then when you were like, did you, you know?
Yeah. I didn't. Much to the disappointment or excitement, I don't know, of my parents. I remember them being mad at me because I would be drawing with crayon on the walls. They had nice white walls. I would just be drawing Ninja Turtles and Batman and Spider-Man all over the place. But I drew all the time. I mean,
that's why you know that bar of soap, right?
Exactly. You know, it is what it is.
Not drawing on the walls.
But you know, it's eventually you develop a taste for the soap, so it doesn't work anymore. They have to step up their game.
Well, you know how my mom stepped up the game with liquid soap.
Oh, that's delicious too. You know, you get used to that also. A hot sauce, whatever. You know, you develop these small amounts of immunities to different punishments.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I never developed the taste for it, because I think after it happened once, I just stopped. I learned my lesson. Apparently,
just like a little, you just swish around with it and you're like, what else you got, Ma?
Yeah, what else you got, Mom? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then you're drawing on everything that you can draw on.
And yeah, so I mean, I couldn't even read the comics at the point when I started to get into comics. I got into them when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I couldn't really understand a lot of the things going on. I followed the pictures. I loved the look of the heroes, the look of the art. And then as I eventually learned how to read, I was reading comics all the time. I would get those little Spider-Man, those little grocery store, not necessarily digest size, but maybe they were around that size. But they had all like the reprints of the original Spider-Man stories. I was always taking that out from the local school library and everything. So it was, comics were just a part of my life. I had an older cousin that was into comics, and then he got me into the trading cards and some of the older comics like Vertigo and like the scarier heroes like Ghost Rider and stuff like that, you know, stuff that my parents didn't necessarily know about at the time. He gave me one of his Fright Night comics. So I was getting into horror comics and things like that when I was like 7, 8 years old. But I don't think there was ever a time in my life where I really thought I wouldn't be at least somewhat doing something that had to do with comics. There was a time when Marvel had gone under, and I really thought that that a lot of my hopes and dreams of working in the comic industry in general were just gone. And it seemed like I should just transition maybe into doing something just in general with art and graphic design and whatever else. So I went down that road for a little.
What year were you when you were falling in love with comics? Like 5, 7 years old? Was that the early 80s?
That was like 88, 89.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was kind of the right time too with the other things, because then the Batman movie came out at that point.
Yeah.
But when I wanted to get into working in comics and working in graphic design, it was about maybe I'd say 2000. 2001 when I had decided, okay, I'm absolutely going to do a career in this path, down this road. And eventually it just turned into, I thought I'd make my own books, I'd make my own things, I'd work here and there, I'd get used to understanding how to letter, how to ink, how to do this, whatever, and just kind of cutting my teeth on whatever it is I could do.
Were you thinking like early on that you were going to work for the big two, Marvel, DC? Or were you always
at that point in time, believe it or not, when I went down the graphic design road, I wanted to work for Wizard magazine. So I was thinking of getting an internship eventually and going down that road. But by the time I wanted to do that, Wizard was kind of going downhill in a big way, and they were changing, and I wasn't really liking the magazine as much anymore. And I just thought I'll just work in comics, and then eventually I'll just transition over to whatever, working on books for someone. I didn't have a clear-cut path of what I wanted to do in terms of the big two or whatever. Everything eventually changed, though, when I started doing my own comics and making my own and getting familiar with more independent creators. And I thought, I really can't go down this road of this other, having conversations at conventions with creators too. I'm like, that doesn't really speak to me anymore, doing these. Because I always wanted to do, when I was a kid, I always wanted to create characters that were a part of the story. So I would always come up with my own side characters for like Spider-Man or for Fantastic Four or the X-Men or whatever. And I wanted to kind of put those characters into the universes of what was already there. It wasn't really about playing with the characters that existed. It was about making my own and putting them into that world. And then eventually, as I grew up, it was kind of like, you know, the ins and outs of things. And it becomes like, why do I really want to do that? I'll just make my own characters. Who really needs to put them into an existing world that's already there? So eventually, I just start making my own comics, start working with other people. And then when I formed Alterna, that was more or less me just kind of making a self-publishing imprint. I didn't really have any plans on becoming a full-fledged publisher.
And that was 14 years ago? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that was 14 years ago. That was maybe 14 and a half years ago, because I didn't actually incorporate Alterna as a publisher until 2006.
So were you thinking more like that you were going to give other people like yourself exposure, or was Alterna kind of a vanity press idea where you were just pretty much like, this is going to be my publishing company and I'm going to print my own books?
Yeah, it was mostly just for me. So it was something that sounded cooler than like Simeti Studios or whatever, you know.
Right.
It had more of a vibe to it that seemed edgier and not as just self-serving. And eventually it turned into, after 6 months or so, getting submissions from creators and getting the same kinds of stories of, you know, I'm trying my hardest. I don't know the right people. I'm getting rejected here and there. They want me to change my style. They want me to change my story. And eventually I thought, you know, maybe we'll just strengthen numbers, the whole thing, and move forward and take some small calculated risks here and there, put a book out maybe once or twice a year or whatever it is. I thought we could do that. And so we just did print on demand at first. We didn't have diamond distribution until 2008.
So was the first book, was that written and drawn by yourself?
Yeah, so the first one was written and drawn by me, and it's an awful, awful book called Spectrum. And it was basically this superhero type story. It was like a noir superhero that was like almost like a ripoff of a Dark Man or something, now that I look back. And it was horrible. It's a book that if it got submitted to me today, I'd be like, look, you have about 10 more years.
You draw every day, you know, call me in 10 years.
Yeah. So it was awful. I sold a bunch. I sold like 200 something of each issue, like by hand.
Wow. For independent, like out of, you know, just out of the...
Yeah, so people dug it, you know, so I do feel bad when I say how bad it was, because some people out there probably actually did enjoy it, but I only made 2 issues of it before things got too hot and heavy in terms of all of a sudden I wanted to shift gears from being a self-publisher to actually publishing.
So how were you pushing that stuff, Pete? In the day, were you doing it through Comic-Cons, through
yeah, comic conventions, local stores, even going back to my college at the time and just literally going and visiting my favorite professors and going around the room and talking to them and saying, hey, are you guys interested in comic books? And I'd do some kind of a speech or whatever, and then they'd all buy them at the end of the thing. It was only like...
You know, at the time, like selling 200 books independently, especially the way you did, that's really good, man. Like, even like, you know, when I would bring Chrono books to, you know, big shows, you know, I would sell maybe 5 books, you know, at like WonderCon or San Diego Comic-Con. And so to be able to move, was that like within a year, or how many did you
I'd say it'd be usually within about the first 3 months of going, because I went back to press like multiple times. So I'd make like 50, then I'd make like 100, then I would be like, I don't know, maybe 50 more when the next issue came out. And I did that, but it was like, obviously it takes time to make comics. So between the time it took to make the comic, and the second issue definitely got better than the first, but by the time it took to make everything, I figured, you know what, I really love making comics, and I love that whole aspect of selling comics to people and talking comics with them. But at the same time, I thought that if I wanted to do more of that, there was no way I could just do that and then make my own comic and still have that balance of it. So I figured I'll shift more as like a writer and a letterer, and someone that could be like Johnny on the spot. If they needed help with the inking or whatever it is, I could do that. But I wanted to actually not draw out the whole book. Plus, I don't have any patience for sequential art. It's amazing to me the people that do sequential art so well, because I'm the 5-minute sketch guy, and it showed back then on those, you know, and maybe there was some energy to them and whatever, but it was, to me, it wasn't exactly something that I would consider Alterna standard today.
Right. Was there a realization where at some point you went, like your interest went from artist to more businessman? Because I know, like, for me, there's this constant back and forth where there's this businessman side and then there's this artist side. And sometimes I feel like my life would just be so much easier if I just go one, or the other.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
So was there ever a moment where you actually made that decision where, art's going to go on the back burner, or, the business side is going to go on the back burner?
For a few years, yeah, definitely. Because the next book I did after the 2 issues of Spectrum, it was The Chair, and I had just written that mostly, and then I did a lot of the digital inking and I lettered it and stuff like that too. But I didn't pencil it. I hired a penciler for that, a guy by the name of Kevin Christensen, who probably wishes I wouldn't mention his name, but it's too bad I'm mentioning his name. To give you a hint of the relationship we've had over the years because of every dumb thing.
Yeah, Kevin, your name's getting mentioned.
He did great work. I enjoyed the work on the book, and he should be proud of the work he did. But I know he probably doesn't feel that way at this point. Either way, though, so I realized, I really liked writing a lot more. But more than that, because at that point, again, by the time The Chair came out and that was all done, I started publishing other books. And more than creating my own book, I really got something way more fulfilling out of getting other people's books out there and championing their books and being excited about their successes and the things that they were doing. So it was it's kind of always been a bit in my nature, I guess, because even when I played hockey, I'd much rather be the guy that sets up the goal scorer than the guy that scores the goal. It's a weird, I guess it's a weird mentality. I'm
no, it's not. I completely understand, because when I played music, I was the drummer, right? I could have played any instrument, but I think, like, on some level, I like to be behind everybody, and then I could watch everything. I could watch, the guitar players, the singers. I could see the crowd. I could see everything from my vantage point. And then, as far as comics, I think that lead guy, I was never really too comfortable with that role. So inking was more like my jam, because I was like, I can support, I can see everything from my vantage point, and but I also didn't have to take the heat. You know what I mean? Like, I could kind of sit back, and then, like, if the book was to get some blame, it usually went to the writer or the penciler. You know what I mean? So, but now I realize that, if you're going to excel, or if you're going to do these create your own projects, you can't hide anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to go out there and you have to trumpet your books, and you have to be out there and loud and proud. So this is kind of like new for me, because I do relate to what you were saying, Peter, where I felt kind of the same, where I would kind of hide a little bit behind, and to be honest, I felt great. Like, I felt like I could plus this. You know what I mean? Like every job I got, I always try to figure out how could I not only, do what the penciler would want or the writer would want, but also try to plus it and bring a little bit of my own personality and try to elevate the work. So I got a lot of pride out of that. So I know.
And there's different feelings of satisfaction at each job position. And now I'm at a point where most days I went to school for graphic design. I went in school to basically learn how to sit in front of a computer all day and put files together. Now I find I'd much rather pack books and ship out books all day long than pre-press files. So it's a different, there's always something. I mean, and this is how I've been my whole life. I'm always kind of, I do something, and things always evolve and they progress, and you have a different idea and it comes along. And that's kind of the way I'm able to now be creative. People go, well, how can you be creative if you're just mostly running the business at this point? Well, things like this Indiegogo campaign, things like coming up with new ways to create new things for the fans, for the readers. I said it last night when I was on Clint's stream. We're going to be evolving more into becoming like a republisher in a way, where people have these big premiere event, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, whatever it is, and then we break up and have a single issue kind of format later on to have more people get access to these stories. And because of that, it enables those creators to get more readers, through having those things at more accessible price points or whatever it may be through Alterna. And then they can get more backers for maybe their next project if you really end up liking that creator's work. So in turn, what we can do is then we offer value to the reader and we offer some kind of usefulness to the creator. Because if we're not doing both of those things, we're not really doing much of anything at all. So we have to evolve with that as the industry progresses and changes and all of this new stuff occurs, because I don't want to become, I think we're going to see some publishers try to tighten their grip, I think, on creators. The more they realize these creators maybe don't need us. They could do these awesome campaigns. You know, well, instead of tightening your grip on the creators, come up with new ways to be useful to them. So some publishers will do that and others won't. And it depends upon what they feel confident in, or maybe they're scared. They could be scared that a creator would be too big, you know, and we have to control them and contain them.
From what I've seen in all my years in the industry, just if I could predict, you know, based on what you said, I think the bigger companies are going to try to be more controlling. I don't think they're going to be more generous. And if they are, they're only going to be more generous with the people that they feel that it's worthwhile. You know what I mean? To keep a Greg Capullo happy, they're probably going to bend over backwards. But at the same time, the Greg Capullos are the ones that go based on X, Y, and Z, you know, crowdfund, you know, Comicsgate, crowdfund, whoever. These guys are throwing up some big numbers. So I don't necessarily need to do Batman. You know what I mean? Like I could bring Creech over, which was his creator-owned image book. He could bring that over, you know, either reprint it or do new books and do 100K. I don't like to throw numbers around, but probably more, you know, based on just him and his skills and his name alone. And we were talking last night on Pontificators, for somebody like Capullo, that gives them street value, because if they can go over, and let's just say, like best case scenario, you know, they do, I don't know, 200,000, you know, they sell thousands of books for a month or 2 month campaign. Well, all of a sudden, these are numbers that are tangible. They can't take these away. These are directly correspond with that dude's name, that guy's brand. That's not Greg Capullo doing Batman. That's not Greg Capullo doing X-Men. That's Greg Capullo. You know what I mean? And that has merit and that has clout. So I don't see any reason why creators aren't going to dabble in this arena and start playing nice with people like Push and Pete and myself and Ethan Van Sciver and Joe Fulton. You know, they're going to start coming around. They're at the very least, Peter, they're going to start looking at what we're doing, right? And they probably already are.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that when it comes to Alterna, I want creators who obviously love what they're doing. They care about the work that they're making, the story they're telling, but I also want creators that want to engage with their readership. Yeah. And that was the biggest motivation behind the fact that we were against block lists and things like that. I don't have anyone blocked. I think I have, you know what? I think I might have one person who will go unnamed that I think everyone on Earth should probably have blocked, but it's within the comic sphere I'm talking about. But anyway.
Otherwise, that would be Satan himself.
But so the thing is that we wanted the ability to say, look, if you have a problem with someone specifically, if someone's harassing you, whatever it may be, and you feel that you have to block them, whatever it is, that's unfortunate, but hey, it's the internet. What we didn't approve of was the fact that if you know, let's say they don't like me, and they go through and say, everyone who follows Simeti must be just as bad as him, so I'm going to block all 80-something thousand people that follow him. That's ridiculous. We're trying to use social media to sell books, to get the books out there so people are aware of them. Unless you've got deep, deep pockets and you plan on doing advertising elsewhere, whether it be television, social media, whatever. And let me tell you, you're going to get way more hate depending upon how you do your your advertising, your book, your presence, however that is. You need social media to engage. Otherwise, just get off of social media if you're just so frightened to death of every single person on there.
Right. And also the thing that none of this makes any sense, because these become win-win scenarios. Because you even have, like Hollywood, you have what is his name now? Keanu Reeves coming in. You have this stuff happening. Well, this all feeds on itself. So if Alterna does good, then Hack Check Studios does good, then Marvel. Like, it's all so interconnected, because everybody in the chat isn't just buying, our books. They're buying other people's books too. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's good and it looks interesting and fun, they're gonna buy it. So in the image boom, in the boom days, everybody did well. You know what I mean? Like, even some of these small indie printers did well. And so it was all kind of just, it all crossed over. And I think that we need to start thinking about that stuff as well. Not that we have to go, oh, we got to save DC or Marvel or these other things, but we have to realize that it's more connected than a lot of people think. So when we start hating on this person and on that person, well, it diminishes people's love for comic books. You know what I mean? Like, Stan Lee never said DC Comics sucks. You know what I mean? Like, he never disparaged other publishers. He talked up what he was doing, but he was always like, comic books are cool. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we need to get back to. What
I love, though, is there are clips out there where Stan basically said DC Comics sucks.
But that was much later. It wasn't in the early 60s, was it?
No. Well, I mean, at that point, too, I think when you're in the thick of it, it's like you really have to concern yourself with what you're doing, because if your whole strategy is to just put down the other guy, well, what do you have? And then if you go, well, we don't have anything, it turns into, well, shut the hell up. So
yeah, you have to back it up.
So you really have to back it up. But it was always funny, later on, seeing a lot of these interviews with him. And I remember one panel I saw, he was saying something about how when they had changed their name to Marvel, and then DC rushed to change their name too, they had Marvel. And then he's like, and they changed their name to DC. And it's just like, it's that kind of, it was great. But I think we need more of that mentality. I would actually like to see more of this playful ribbing. And even if it's sometimes a little bit serious and personal, I'd like to see, at least we can all just laugh and go, oh, what an asshole or whatever. And just you rib them back, and everybody can take as good as they give. But unfortunately, we don't have anything close to that right now.
Yeah, it all gets registered as hate, and then the blocking begins. Exactly. So what is you mentioned a little bit about the future of Alterna, where you're going to bring in some outside IPs and reprint based on their other campaigns, and you're already doing that with Clint Stoker's Sweetcast, right?
Yes, so we have Clint's book. We have also Josh Howard's book, T-Bird and Throttle. And then we've got a couple other things I can't necessarily talk about just yet. I know some people have thought, oh, well, is Fatal going to become an Alterna book too, the way Downcast was? No, Fatal's not going to become, at least not in the very immediate future or within a year or two or whatever. There's no plans to bring Fatal in. I think the book looks great. I think it's fantastic. I think Charlie, his art is mind-blowingly good. And I think the book seems very solid, but we're not going to do the whole, like we kind of did with Downcast, where we made it a nice surprise for a lot of people. Some people didn't like it at all, the surprise, but I don't think they even got Downcast whatsoever. So we wanted to provide people with an option, and we made that very forward at that point in time, that people could go, well, I want just the graphic novel. I don't want to buy the Alterna version. That's fine. Or they go, I want to buy the Alterna version. I don't want to get the graphic novel. That's fine too. But some people thought that we wanted people to buy both. Obviously, yeah, you could buy both, but we just want you to get the story however you want to get the story.
Right.
So there's a bunch of other books we have down the pipe that are going to be coming out, of course, but it's still maintaining the course in terms of getting books out there, publishing books, and then obviously moving forward, we're going to incorporate crowdfunding in a bigger way, whether it's crowdfunders that we do or scouting crowdfunders for these books and saying, hey, you got a great book here. Are you interested in maybe breaking it up into issues and we can re-release it through newsprint at Alterna? Yeah. And maybe some creators say, yeah, sure. And maybe some creators say, no, take a hike. So that's up to them. But
you never know.
It's something that publishers need to start doing too. We need to start being more kind of like when you're scouting in a sports team. you know. And I think we're going to have to start doing that more than sitting there and just being, even though we get 100 to 150 submissions a month, I'm going to have to start actually scouting for projects that look like they'd be a great fit.
Yeah. So about distribution, I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about like retail, like?
Oh, he's talking about Alterna distribution. So right now on alternadistribution.com, it's basically a supplemental distributor. So if you have, like, let's say art with your book with black and white, let's say you've got 100 just kicking around and you're like, I can't move these things, or you can move them and you think like, hey, you know, if they get out to stores, that'd be great, but I don't have the time to get all these contacts together or ship out individual this and that's and whatever. You can submit to Alterna distribution, and a bunch of people already have. We have about 60 to 70 submissions, and what that is that we then sell that separately on the alternadistribution.com website once that goes up, probably around early 2021. This whole year is really just we wanted to get this going in fall, probably by about right now, but it seemed kind of wrong to put more distribution out there for these kinds of books when stores don't even really know what to make of the books they have right now.
So then the idea is that you're the middleman and you'll get these books into.
Yeah. So basically we're somewhat of a middleman. Yeah. So that we would then have the books, we would list them on the site. They'd be there until obviously we would sell out. When the books are close to selling out, I would see there'd be a whole spreadsheet they could fill out letting us know how many quantities they have. So let's say we want to purchase 50, and I think I'm confident we could sell 50. So we would get 50 from them at a discount. We would then put it on the site, sell the books. If they start to sell through, almost sell out, I'm going to say, hey, look, you said there's 100 available. Is that true? Because then I'll buy the rest up, and this way we can restock. So that's just a little bit of what we would do, but it would sell to retailers, readers. It would be on a site. It would be a place with all these independent books. You can actually go there and see them afterwards. A lot of the crowdfunding books too, where people, they don't necessarily, you know, have diamond to put them into, because a lot of these guys, they might have a great book, but the way diamond submission process is, especially now, it's all over the place. I mean, they actually actively discourage right now submitting books that have been very successful through crowdfunders. It's a weird kind of system. They look at that, and it's actually on their site for the vendor application that they say, okay, in the marketing plan, be aware that if this was successful on a crowdfunder, it doesn't mean it's going to do well through a comic shop. So what else are you going to bring to the table? Instead of saying, hey, if it was really successful on a crowdfunder, that's something we can use to sell, and say, hey, it was a proof of concept right here. Let's say, I mean, you're telling me like your book or Ethan's book or Clint's book or whatever, these successful books are just, that works against you as a selling point. In any other industry, that's a positive.
Right.
But in comics, they want to brainwash you into thinking, no, you need us. You don't need the crowdfunder, because that's what the whole point is.
It's also a way, like it's a direct competition to their business model, right? So
yeah, and they need some competition, to be perfectly honest. The competition is mother of innovation. It's the mother of diversification, which is so funny because the whole industry is so harped on diversity, but yet competition naturally creates diversity, because you have to constantly think, well, how do we compete these guys and do something different? And, so you don't want to do the same thing everyone else is already doing if you want to compete.
Make a better product at a cheaper price.
You want to either do a cheaper price, you want to make a better product, you want to have different kinds of stories, give an actual variety to your readers. Maybe there's stories out there like the superhero market. For the longest time, people considered that to be flooded, and then other comics started coming up. So you would get horror, and you would get sci-fi and fantasy and all this other stuff, but it was because they were trying to compete with what was already there, and they couldn't really compete, let's say, with a superhero book, so they would make some other kind of story. But that naturally creates diversification.
Diversity, and competition. So just to sum up, so as far as the distribution, the alternative distribution, anybody that has access to that website can order those books, not just retailers, but if there was just somebody that wanted to buy 10 books, they could.
Yeah, basically what we have on alternaaccess.com, that would be very similar to what alternadistribution.com would look like when that finally gets up and running. So you can sort by publisher, you can sort by genre, which I think is very important too, because we've become kind of a sort by genre society where streaming and all this other stuff, you might not know what movie you want to see, but you know what kind of movies you like.
Right.
So we'll have that kind of a thing. And this way people can actually discover these comics relatively easy through browsing. And it's the same kind of system that we've used with a great deal of success with alternaaccess.com. We'd just be porting it over.
Well, that's also how you set up your Indiegogo, which we should go back to this and just give people a little bit of a once over for your, this is your newest campaign. This is 2 days up, your 9,051, 122 backers. You have 125 backers.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, so you went up, so you're now 9,538, and you still have 28 days to go, and your fixed goal is 15K. So let's watch the video. Is that cool?
Yeah, we should really watch. Make sure you got the sound on too, because this is real loser. We got to act in the video. Oh, what's up with the sound?
I just want to sit here and read a comic book. That's the whole reason I started this company, was to just sit here and read comics all day. Readers that want stuff. Is this ever happened to you? You're trying to organize your comic books, and they explode. What a mess.
Look at that guy. What a loser.
Well, you're in luck. The Alterna Comics Collector Case is here to save the day.
Yes.
Keep your collection organized and in great shape. There's up to 15 comics, bagged and boarded too. And now we've got art inserts for the front and side covers.
I don't know why the sound of the video is so off. It sounds like it's echoey.
Some of your favorite Alterna comic titles. Available on Indiegogo. You're still here? What are you doing? Go check out the Indiegogo already.
Man, you just Ferris Buellered me. I just got Ferris Buellered, man.
I don't know how you got Sean Lennon to be in your video, but he was worth every penny.
Yeah, he was cheap. He was pretty stupid too about organizing comics. It was nice. It worked out really well.
It's a good thing you gave him the collector's case, because then he got his shit together.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sean Lennon, Sean Lennon is living proof that the Alterna collector case works. So just as the quick pitch, what is this campaign for anybody that just came in?
So this campaign is literally because the readers have demanded these things over the years. We have the most demanding readers in comics. They send me nasty emails on a daily basis wondering why they can't get more items, why certain things are sold out, when we're going to have this, when we're going to have that. Come on, Pete, get your stuff together. So I figured, all right, let's get this all in one shot. You know, most of the things that people have asked for over the years. And we've got reprints, we've got blank variants, we've got sketch cards, we've got cover commissions, we've got all kinds of different things for everybody. A new T-shirt. People have been asking for T-shirts for a while too, because we've been selling out of the ones we already have. This red beanie's coming back. Everybody's been asking about that for months. So it's all kinds of things. Plus, we've got a lot more that people don't know about just yet. We're kind of keeping hidden a bit. One of the things is actually going to be when we hit the $15,000 goal, every single backer is going to get a blank sketch card, an official Alterna comic sketch card. You're just going to get that for free included with your bundle. So you guys can do whatever you want to do with it, whether you want to draw on it or you want to hire Art T. Bear or me or whoever to draw on it for you. Joe's got one of the cards I've made for him. So those are my official cards that Joe has, but these Alterna ones are nice. They've got a design.
Wait, let's go back. Joe, you holding up? Oh, look at that. Wait, hold on. It's Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk.
That's right. Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk, drawn by Peter Simeti.
And if anybody wants to go back in my history to find out that, story about how Lou Ferrigno is a jerk, He's a hulking jerk.
Not to me, he wasn't.
Well, he was to me. He left me stranded. All
And
right. Well,
this was a 5-minute sketch, if you can believe that.
wow. Killer, Peter. So yeah, let's go back and let everybody see. So these are the front insert pocket, right? So these are
Yeah.
these could be your cover sleeves, right?
Yeah, basically like this on the collector case, the insert slides right into that front pocket, and we've got side inserts too. This way it'll look nice when you display them with like a profile on the shelf. And there's 34 of the side pocket inserts, 17 of the front pocket inserts. If we get to 400, 500, 600 backers, we unlock more inserts for you guys. You get those for free if you purchase the featured $99 perk or the collector case insert perk, or I think it's $250 or $500 perks too.
Yeah, so you
will include those things automatically.
You can customize your box, which is cool. So then there's this highly collectible Alterna box side pocket inserts.
Yeah, so those will actually do what I've got on the side over here. They'll form the Alterna logo across 10 boxes, and the 10 boxes will kind of they'll kind of create this perfect Alterna logo image that contains all of the Alterna books that have come out so far, because it'll contain, I think, 150 to 180 comics.
Wow.
And then that's kind of everything that's come out in single issues so far through Alterna. Maybe a little bit more space for the next couple of months, and then you can get more cases if you'd like, or not. It's up to you. But this is an option that people have been asking for too. Is something to, they wanted designs and they wanted the boxes to put their whole collection in and all these different things if we could customize it for them. So instead of just making set boxes per book, we made, because that's an incredibly expensive thing to do too. We made this so that you can actually customize your own box and it still looks just as great. And you guys can actually create your own kind of thing using various inserts that are already pre-printed, and they're all on nice cardstock too. So this way they'll take.
Yeah, and just think about this, you guys. Like that artwork right there on your book. Like I have a lot of my high-end, books and stuff on my bookshelf. So just think how cool that's going to look on your bookshelf. So if you're ever like, where are my Alterna books? You don't even have to think about it. They're right there, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So then we have a bunch of cool artists as well. I wanted to get these guys some love, and so we have Hank Tucker. We have, is it Robert Geronimo? Is that really?
Robert Geronimo? Yeah, he does the
That's a
Bloodline book.
great name, man.
Yeah.
And then we have Frankie B. Washington, and then we have the great Clint Stoker, Ryan Wynn, and Spencer Desmond. And somebody named Peter Simeti. I don't know who that is, but that artwork looks killer. And then we have Bob Welch and Tyler. Is it Wentland?
Nick Welch and Tyler Wentland. Yeah.
Nick Welch and Tyler Wentland. Yeah. So
they're great. A lot of great artists on here, and we've got commission options for the sketch cards and the blank variants too. So you could pick that out if you'd like.
Yeah. So you guys come by, check out this campaign. It's 30 days. We already asked Peter. He said, right now, the plan is just 30 days, so you have 28 days left. Great start, Peter. Great start. I mean, only 2 days, and you're closing in on 10K. So that is pretty impressive, my friend. So great product, great price, and you got a killer fan base, man.
Well, it's a big thanks to them. I mean, this campaign is successful right now because of them. It's been our most successful campaign for the first 2 days than any campaign we've ever had before. And honestly, they're the most helpful and the most creative readers in comics, because, I joke with getting these kinds of emails and this and that, but I love getting stuff like that. I love the fact that the readers will reach out to us and they're so invested and they care so much about these characters, these comics, the company, that they'd like to see more things. Even though they know, I don't know if you could do this or not, but I just figure I'd tell you in case. And when we get enough people saying the same kind of thing, whether they're all conspiring or not, I have no idea. But when I get enough people telling me, I think, okay, well, we should probably consider doing this in the future.
Yeah, when they demand it, you mean?
Yeah. And it's good to listen to the readers when they demand something, especially if you know you can do it.
Yeah. We want this book.
Good. I love hearing that. Like, we've had people before that like Red Koi, that kind of went on a little bit of a hiatus, and readers didn't know when the new ones were coming out or if there would be new ones coming out. So we actually had several people message me, and some of them very sternly going, "Look, I don't understand what the wait is. This book was great. I just can't we get more of this book? Are you going to do something about that?" And I'm thinking like, yeah, well, we're going to make more.
This is just the beginning, people. Yeah. So I do have to, in closing, I know that Joe has some questions. So
Okay.
I've been hogging all my Peter time here, and Joe is a big fan of your.
I thought this was a family-friendly show. Oh boy!
I don't know if you know that. But go for it, Joe.
Yeah, people may not know this, but secretly Pete and I have had a few chats, and I consider Pete a friend. I hope, Pete, that I'm not telling tales out of school. I did make this request a couple of years ago in public. You answered in public.
That Peter looks great nude, right? That's
Well, funny you should say that, Art, because it was the first big crowdfunder that I had ever been aware of for Alterna, and there were sketches that Pete was doing, being offered as tiers, and I asked if it would be possible, one of those customers who wanted something that wasn't necessarily being offered publicly, I asked if it would be possible and how much would it cost to commission Pete to draw a sketch of himself in a Speedo.
Wait, are you kidding?
No, I'm totally serious. Of himself in a Speedo flexing a double bicep shot with his foot on the neck of the mainstream comic book industry. And he said, well, that's really not an option. Thank you for your interest. I appreciate it.
It's still not an option, Joe.
Oh, come on.
Now,
build up.
now
You don't
the
even
thing-
let me ask the question.
The thing is, if you wanted to do the awful thing of commissioning one of our creators to do something like that, that's between you and them.
Oh,
he's telling you how it's done now. Yeah.
I understand. Say no more.
So Peter will draw it. He just won't sign his name to it. He'll sign somebody like Jack Kirby.
Jackson Brown Kirby.
Jackson Brown Kirby. So was that the question? That was the question to
That's
have.
it.
Wow.
Yep, that was
That's
it.
been the hard-hitting questions today.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Well, Peter gave you, I guess, a maybe. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is really uncomfortable.
How do you think I feel, Art?
I know.
Like, Pete, come on the show. Let's talk about things. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, we'll have a few laughs.
What can I say? I like original artwork.
I think
That's not artwork. That's garish, traumatic imagery.
I'll tell you, Pete. This is just between the three of us. The chat's not listening. As soon as Joe knew that he and I we're friends, right? He was pretty confident. His friend thing happened. He asked me the exact same thing. He said, "I'd like to commission," but he said 11 by 17, full on, pencil and ink commission of me in a Speedo doing the Joe Weir pose with my, foot on the neck of the mainstream.
Why do I picture an entire wall in Joe's home with all of these drawings of various creators?
I don't know.
Crushing, I don't know what they'd be necessarily crushing.
That's what he called the room the I don't know room.
Just because it's the only door that has a combination lock on it doesn't mean that there's anything unsavory going on in there.
No, of course not.
When Joe dies, the collection will be unfolded.
It'll do a Banksy, and when he dies, it's triggered to his heart, and it'll just go right through a shredder, and no one will ever know.
No one will ever know. Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, hey, it was great hanging out with you, Peter. I'm glad I got the backstory on how you got into this whole wacky industry, and thanks for sharing your new Indiegogo with us. It looks amazing. You're doing great. 2 days into it, you know, you're coming up on 10 grand. I think it's gonna just keep going, you know, like gangbusters. And I'm sorry I asked Joe to come on, and you know.
I'm not.
Wow, this was like the throw Joe under the bus, the stream. Sorry, Joe, I love you. You know that. Yeah. Yes, and thank you so much, man. Keep it going, Peter. Do you have any parting shots?
Nothing other than to say thank you to you guys in the chat. I know many of you have supported this campaign. You've supported Alterna over the years. It really means a great deal to not just me, but all the creators here. So thank you guys for your continued support and for just being awesome. And that's all.
Is this your dream now, Joe? People Joe Hart and Hartwell Joe Hart.
Ooh. Double page spread.
It'll be a tag team. I'll have DC under my boot and you'll have Marvel under your boots.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So thanks again to everybody in the chat. The link is in the description, you guys, to the Alterna Indiegogo campaign. So go check that out, and you have 30 days. And thanks again, Peter and Joe, for coming in. Everybody take care and have